Hello viewers, welcome to Tradabulls. So finally Nifty closed below 25,000 mark consecutively last 3 days, and weekly candle first time it was closed below 25,000 mark. So last week the ranges were very bigger. So around 1168 points range created last week weekly candle. So this week around 540 points. So not even 50% of last week's range. Last 3 days, it didn't close above 25,000 mark, and weekly candle also closed below 25,000. So as per today's data, so Bank Nifty was down by around 0.7% and IT was up by 0.6%. So two major indices were in opposite direction. So that's why Nifty didn't create bigger ranges. So intraday it was created about 108 points range. So yesterday's range was about 155 points, but today it's 108 points. So very narrow range. And Reliance also no much range created. Even closing also it's just flat, very flat close. So 0.1% when we compare with last week's range. So overall, this week Reliance was down by 1% and mid cap was up by 1.3%. Fin Nifty was flat as per weekly closing. IT was up by 1% and banks were down by around 0.6%. And Nifty also weekly candle very flat closing. It's just 0.2% only. So last week close was just about 25,000 mark. This week close was 25,000 mark below. So overall Nifty closed by 50 points down, so comparatively last Friday's close. So as per candlestick view, entire day Nifty was traded in between 23.6% to 0% range. So from 11:30 onwards it was completely narrow range, and last week low was 24,967. So today around 11 o'clock it was broken that price, and entire day it was traded below 24,967. Finally closing also below last week's low. So 24,964 was today's close settlement price, which is just below last week low. So as per major data points, even in our yesterday's analysis, we clearly mentioned that should either close above 25,113 mark or below 24,753 mark. So on daily basis, so 25,113 was 23.6% of last month's range. So since last 4 days, I think last 3 days, it was closed below that mark only, 23.6% of last month's range. So the next probable support would be 24,753, which was last month low, 24,753. So if it breaks and closes below that level, so we may expect 24,400 would be the next support. But since last 4 days, it took a big support at 24,700 mark. So until and unless it trades above 24,700 mark, so we may expect some technical bounce, which is 50% of the latest swing. So latest swing was around 1600 points. So 50% of latest swing would be 800 points. So from 24,700, which is recent swings low, to 800 points means 25,500 would be the major resistance point. So 24,700 to 25,500 would be the big range created. So if we want to see any kind of new swing, so market should break either 25,500 or 24,700 mark. So coming to Bank Nifty, so Bank Nifty yesterday it was up by around 1%, and today it was down by around 0.5% or 0.7%. So as per candlestick view, entire day it was traded between 78.6% to 0% of yesterday's range, And here, as per weekly data and monthly data, 51,340, 336 and 347, two important supports are there. So around 11 o'clock, so it was broken that level, and it was entire day it was traded below that levels. So 51,337 is the next important level for Bank Nifty, but banks and both Nifty and Bank Nifty closed below 23.6% of last month's range. So we may expect further fall if it breaks last month's low, that is 0%. So for Nifty, 0% of last month is indicating 24,750 mark, and for banks 0% is indicating 50,369. So 50,369 was the last month's low, and the recent low is also indicating 50,369. So 50,369, that is previous low. So current low 50,194. So that means both Nifty and Bank Nifty already broken last month's low, but it is just trading above that 0% of last month's range. So once again, if it breaks that level, so the recent low 50,194 for Bank Nifty and 24,700 for the Nifty. So once again, if it breaks, we may expect further fall. Otherwise, it may go into consolidation. And IT, so IT 42,335. So yesterday it was created one big red candle. Today it was created one green candle. So finally 42,335 is indicating above 23.6% of last month's range. So IT, comparatively Nifty and Bank Nifty, IT closed above 23.6% of last month's range, but both Nifty and Bank Nifty closed below 23.6% of last month's range. So for IT, 42,100 would be the greater support, and 42,390 is indicating 38.2%. So all three major indices, Nifty, Bank Nifty and IT, three were closed below 38.2% of last month's range. So this week it's a bigger consolidation, and if any move expects upside, so Nifty should close above 38.2% of last month's range, which is 25,113 mark. So coming to major indices, so Nifty 50 sentiment was 19 out of 50 negative side and 31 out of 50 are positive side. So total today's close was flat close, about 34 points down, and 0.1% is downside percentage. So major downside draggers, ICICI Bank, HDFC Bank and TCS. Coming to weekly candle, so sentiment was 33 out of 50 negative side and 17 out of 50 are positive side. So majorly ITC, ICICI Bank, Reliance, TCS, Titan are the downside contributors, whereas upside contributors, positive contributors, Kotak Bank, Bharti Airtel, M&M and Divis Lab. So Kotak Bank was up by around 4%, Bharti Airtel was up by around 2.83% and M&M 3.87%. Divis Lab was up by 13%. So this week, Divis was the major top performer in Nifty 50. So 13% up from last 5 days. So coming to Bank Nifty, so today majorly ICICI Bank and HDFC Bank downside performers, and upside Bandhan Bank and Kotak Bank. So total 410 points negative side and 117 points are positive side. So 0.7% was the downside compared to yesterday's close. And this week, so 8 out of 12 are negative contributors and 4 out of 12 are positive contributors. So this week, Bank Nifty was down by 0.6%. So Nifty was down by -0.2%, whereas banks were 0.6% down. And majorly ICICI Bank, IndusInd Bank, HDFC Bank, Bank of Baroda are major downside performance. And IT today, except TCS, all IT stocks were on green side. So 429 points positive side contribution, all 9 companies, but TCS was around 190 points negative. So almost all 50% downside contributor. And this week, TCS and Wipro are the downside contributors. Remaining 8 are positive side. So majorly Persistent was the highest contributor. Next HCL Tech. After that LTI Mindtree. So it was 1% up when we compared to last Friday's closing. So coming to heat maps. So today Divi's Lab was up by 3.3%. Hindalco was up by 2.5%. HCL Tech was up by around 1.7%. So downside, M&M, TCS, ICICI Bank and Cipla around 1.5 to 2% range. So this week, so Divi's was up by around 13%, LTI Mindtree was up by 5%, Kotak was up by 4% and M&M was up by around 3%. So downside, Titan was more than 5% down. Britannia around 3.67%, Tata Steel was 3.65%. So index top 10s. So as per weekly and monthly data, still Nifty is indicating 7 out of 10 are in negative side and 2 out of 10 are in positive side. 1 was in neutral. So the 2 were Infosys and Bharti Airtel as per weekly data, and monthly data, Infosys and SBI are the positive side. So majority are showcasing in negative side only. Majorly HDFC Bank, Reliance, ICICI Bank. So all 3 top heavyweights are indicating further downside. So coming to Bank Nifty, so 6 out of 10 are negative on weekly data and 8 out of 10 are negative on monthly data. So majorly HDFC Bank and ICICI Bank both are indicating downside on both weekly as well as monthly data. So Axis Bank, IndusInd Bank are also indicating downward. So top 2 heavyweights from banking sector, HDFC Bank and ICICI Bank, both are indicating downside only. And IT somewhat positivity is indicating. So 7 out of 10 are positive on weekly data and 6 out of 10 are positive on monthly data. So Infosys and TCS, these 2 are major heavyweights. So both are showing in opposite direction. Infosys is in upward direction and TCS is in downward direction. So remaining heavyweights, all majority are indicating upside. So that's all about today's analysis. So majorly weekly candle closed below 25,000 mark. Decisively entire day it was closed below 25,000 mark. And all 3 major indices, Nifty, Bank Nifty and IT were closed below 38.2% of last month's range, and majorly Nifty and Bank Nifty were closed below 23.6% of last month's range. So all major 2 indices, Nifty and Bank Nifty, is very near to the latest low, latest swing low, and also last month's low. So 24,750 was last month's low for Nifty. So as long as it holds 24,750 to 700, we may expect some technical bounce, 50% of latest swing, that is 25,500 level. If it breaks 24,700 level, at least for 1 hour or a day, so we may expect further downfall on Nifty. So that's all about today's analysis. We'll meet on next analysis. Thank you so much.